So welcome, Benessi, to the park. I've researched it, it's fine. Icon is an overrated coaster. Oh, good timing. Guys, I have a habit of doing that. With my camera skills, this is going to be an interesting part of the episode. And just remember, kids, Nemesis over Icon all day long. Hey everybody, how's it going? So thanks for coming along to episode number 4 of Grosvenor Gardens. It's Christmas week and I think this episode's going to go out after Christmas. So if you are celebrating, I hope you've had a lovely time. If you're not celebrating, then I hope you've had an awesome week. Thanks so much for coming along. We're building a park that's ripping off Gardaland and we're making it as real as we possibly can. So if this is your first time coming along, thank you for coming. So this is what we did in the last episode. We were building the brand new Vekoma STC model. So it's not an SLC, it's their new version of the suspended coaster. It's the STC, and you absolutely loved it. You guys have just gone absolutely crazy for it. So thank you so much for all of the support and all of the love. This is the park so far. Then you can see we've got the entrance area, we've got a kids area, we've got some stuff happening down here that needs to be finished. We've got our STC here, and there's something on the skyline. I really regret putting this one to the poll because this was hard. So Grosvenor Gardens is getting a bit of a reputation for having pioneering rides. Forgive the puns. Pioneer, get it? I'm not even sorry. So yeah, it's getting a bit of a reputation for having pioneering rides. That whole idea of having rides that you wouldn't really find elsewhere. And I put this to the poll last week because I needed a compact coaster. The Pioneer won, and here we are. We're going to play the game of Tip the Bucket. Now these actually generate some those real challenges in its own right, because firstly it's dealt with like a wing coaster, so it has to have a dueling station. So that's one thing, because these things are huge. Look at the size of this pad. It's like, ugh, can't be doing with this. But also, because you have to play the game of Tip the Bucket, you have to be really careful with your track shaping. There's only one in the world, so it's a little bit difficult to know what is and isn't acceptable and what you can and can't do with these things. So I've done the best that I can with the knowledge that I've confined, and I've also, in some instances, had to take inspiration from the Axis coaster as well, because it's kind of the same concept and the same track shaping and everything. So we are going to be playing a little bit fast and loose with, I think, realism in this one, but I'm going to do the best that I possibly can. So here we go. Here's a little tour. We're going to start over in the station. I've decided to bring the queue over the station for reasons that you'll see when we kit it out. And we're going to come around the first bend. I've actually started to use the drive tyres on the straight bits of track. If I didn't, the game just wouldn't allow the train to carry on. It would just stall, and so sometimes you just don't fight with the game, just whatever. They wouldn't use drive tyres in real life, but in the game we have to. Lift hill then is 25 degrees. It's a really shallow lift hill, and it's set to, I think, about 9 miles an hour. So they're quite fast, but really, really shallow. And so that's what we've got here. It needs some custom supporting. I don't want to do that because it's fine. It'll be fine. And then it comes around into the first bend, and then it dips down a little bit into a second like airtime bend. So it's a bit of a snake pass, and then it comes into an airtime hill. Now these coasters don't have airtime hills. They tend to just start at the top and they snake their way down through lots of helixes and a few twists. So I've put an airtime hill in because of the game. Otherwise, the prestige rating on this is just far too low. So the airtime hill at least gives it some kind of excitement. It comes around then and into a brake run, so you can have multiple trains on the track. And it comes into a really fast dive. I love this dive. And it goes underneath and then into this outer banked turn. So this is the beauty of this coaster. Yes, they take a long time to build, and they are a bit of a pain in the backside, but you can throw the track in some really awesome, weird shapes, because you're not having to worry about the G-forces, you're having to worry about, inverted commas, tipping the bucket. This turn is the first time that we start to go, oh, that's a little bit close. Watch as it's going to come round. It's a little bit close, but that's a tree. But it's just okay, look. It's just okay. It's really on that threshold. But anyway, it's going to come around the corner. But I've had to achieve this, by the way, by raising this curve all the way up. Originally, it was in a bit of a rising helix. No, no. So I've ended up rising the curve, making it flat and coming around this way. Then it comes underneath this overpass, and then comes around this way again as an outer curve, and then as it does, it levels back out to normal track, and then comes back out this way, and then goes into a traditional bend. So you're actually swapping places on this track a couple of times, which is the whole idea of this. You're not supposed to be on the same side of the track at all, or for much of the ride. You're supposed to be able to twist it. Unlike the wing coasters, where you are always on the same side of the track, this enables you to still be upright. Oh, it's really fun. They're fun to build. This, by the way, this one here, this is the second part where you're a little bit, it's tipping the bucket a little bit, but it's just about fine. It is just about fine. So throughput of this one actually isn't too bad. It's 8 people per train, so this is not so horrific. It could have been worse. It could have been a spinning coaster. They're just vile for the throughput. This is a bit of a longer queue actually than I thought it was going to get, so this is all good. So we're going back to the Mayan theme for this one because it's an extension of this area. So well, it's kind of Mayan. You'll see what I'm going to do with the theme at this update. It's the middle bit of the episode and it's time to provoke you. Nemesis is next on the Alton Towers kill list. So this is my favourite view of this coaster so far, and that's probably because they actually look a little bit like the Volairs. However, you'd say, you know, those really uncomfortable flying coasters that everybody loves. And I've custom supported this, and yes, it was exactly as painful as I thought it was going to be. But guys, I don't know how these things stay up. I really don't. Like, looking at the support structures and stuff, yeah, they're really chunky and they're really meaty, and oh my god, they're so difficult to do. But looking at this sort of thing, I just don't know how the track stays up. Like, look at this mess. It doesn't actually look like it would support it, and it looks like it would cause all sorts of horrors, but this is exactly as it is now. I'm not saying that my custom supporting is perfect in any way, shape or form, but it's better than the in-game ones, and I'm not going to let the pursuit of perfection be the enemy of good. Good is good enough in this instance, and look at the state of this, right? And, I did so much research into the Axis coaster, this coaster, and actually the Volair, as it turns out, because of some of the shaping and stuff. That's enough said about custom supporting. It's just a mess, right? But anyway, what I'm doing here is I'm starting to think of the sightlines. So from this point of view, as you're walking up, I wanted to be able to see as much of the coaster as possible. So I'm not going to put any trees and stuff in this kind of area. I am going to continue all of the foliage and flowers and stuff up here. So it's still got this really awesome view, and then I'll be able to hide some of this like terrain and stuff. I've also altered the terrain in here because this is supposed to be on the side of a hill, so this isn't going to be flat. So I've just started to do that process of altering the terrain. But if we come over this way, this is where the biggest changes will happen. It's really starting to come to life. I have gone for an open air station on this one, just like I have done with the other wing coaster I did in Gardaland. So I've kind of wanted to do that, but I have taken some cues from the new Chessington plans, and so you'll see a lot of similarities here with what we believe Chessington's to be a wing coaster or some kind of this kind of coaster. I think it's going to be a wing, but I don't know. Well, whatever. So what I've done, as I said before, I brought the queue over the top of the station, and then this bit here would be the exit for this side. Now this is definitely a squint and believe it moment, because there's some stuff in game that we just can't change. Like, I can't change where the exit is. I can't change the fact that the guests come out here. If I had an exit here, I couldn't do 2-meter paths easily. I can do it. You saw me do it in Gardaland, but it just doesn't work the way I want it to here. So it's just a squint and believe it. We're playing it, as I said at the beginning, very loose, fast and loose with realism. But anyway, this is where your guests would exit and would come over the top of the station, and then it merges this side over here down the stairs, and then it would merge with this side as well, and then you come into a wider stairs, and then you come this way, and then likewise with the queue line here, it would split into two. So you got one that comes up and over the top, and then one that comes down this way, and then you board from either side. On the actual station itself, this is exactly what I'm doing. So again, squint, because this is the exit. The exit should be here, but you can't put it here because of the size of the station. Long story. So yeah, you've got one queue line that would be here, one queue line that would be here, and you'd board either side. Then on the underside, I've just started to put some of the TMTK detailing for the station, and because this would be a relatively old, well, I'll say old, it would be a relatively worn ride, I started to put some of the dirt decals and stuff on the concrete that's underneath it, because the rain would drip off the sides here, it would drip off the trains, and it would just cause a bit of a mess going on down below. So let me just change the camera. There you go. So you can see that there's the dirt decals, and I've also put them dribbling down the side here as well. Dribble. So put them dribbling down the side here as well, just so you can see that it is a bit worn, it is a bit weathered. And then, as I said, I wanted open air. And I still wanted to continue the Mayan theme, so that's what we're doing here. So I've brought some of the design of the previous buildings into this area by this bit here. So this is the ride console. I haven't detailed in here yet. That's next on my list. You'll see that finished. But I started to put all of that decor, and then I've also brought the sunshades in from the front of the park. It felt like it needed something to draw all of that area together, so it's a little bit more consistent. So I've brought half of the sunshade in, and I've just put them either side just to give a bit of a shade on the actual station area itself. And of course I'm going to be doing some more sun shading and stuff in the queue line, because this is going to be exposed, but I need to put all the trees and stuff in first. I've also started to do the queue line fencing, so I wanted to have a consistent queue line fence, and that's this wooden effect, so that's what I started to do along here. But just to draw the rest of the area into this coaster area, I've also used the original fencing that I did over on the other ride, so that's this one here, just to create a perimeter and a boundary. And originally I didn't have don't die fencing here, because the train, as you're seeing it go through, isn't travelling at any massive speed, and it's also not a collision risk with people because it's still above their heads, so you're still okay. But what I did need to do is fence off this area from the ride area, so I did have to have like some kind of fencing, and I ended up putting the don't die fencing in, and then thought actually I might as well just make an area of it. So yeah, it's kind of like a double fencing. It's a bit like double denim. You never should, but it just is. You do see it. You do see it in parks where people have a lower fence and then a higher fence behind. And it sort of doesn't break the ambience of the area either, the atmosphere of the area. You get some really good views, by the way, of the coaster from here, from this queue line. I quite like how this has turned out. And especially now that we're down here, we've got like the view of the station here, and then the train coming past sort of obscures your view of the outside world, because then you've got the fences and stuff as well. So it's going to work out quite nicely, especially when I put the vegetation and stuff down here as well, and just make it sort of age it a little bit. So it's going to be good. But yeah, you get some really, really good views of the actual coaster from here. So it's a bit of an accidental queue line, this one. I just placed it down just for the sake of it, but hey, it worked. Maintenance area is completely different to what you're used to. I didn't want to do a shed, because we've got a shed here that would service 2 rides, right? So what I've done here is a transfer track, and then you've got tracks either side. So you've got one that leads up here, one that leads down here, and there's 2 reasons for that. The first one is so that you can put the train up here for storage at night time, and that's just like out of the way with. So you've got 3 trains. This would just about, I think, fit the 3. Well, actually, you'd push one down here, but this would store all 3. And then you've got the one down here because it's close to the access point. So you could just literally drive a van in here, offload it from the track into the van, and drive off again. And I've had to do that because we wouldn't have had enough space to get a van around the side here to the back, and you certainly wouldn't want to be lifting the trains off of the actual transfer track itself. Just causes too much of a health and safety nightmare. So this is what we're doing. We've got this one here, so you'd either push it forward and store it, or push it back and offload it. So it's actually quite an ingenious little way. I've checked it out. It's a valid. This is a valid setup. There are coasters out there that do this. It's really strange. You don't have to have a shed. You don't have to have these really complicated anything. It's like, it just works. It's all good. And then over here, of course, we've got photos. This is actually probably a bit more kitted out than I thought. I've actually copied the screens from another blueprint that I had, because I was just being lazy, because they're grouped. So yeah, but this whole photo booth, I think, is pretty much how I want it to look. With the wood effect, there's a bit of tidying up I need to do, because obviously it's clipping and stuff, and I'm a bit rubbish at this. So I need to tidy it up. So that's what I'm going to do. But yeah, that's the photo booth. Don't want it any more complicated than that. And it's out of the way as well. It's like a weird setup, because it's squeezed into such a small space. I haven't got room to put photo booths here. Like this size of this station really does create a challenge. If you think the size of the station is almost as big as the size of this plaza, it's like it's quite a unique design challenge to go through. And this is a big coaster to work with in a small blueprint. This has been an awesome little challenge. I love it. So yeah, this is coming together quite nicely, especially now that it's custom supported in its weird. Like, look at this. What is this? It's real. It's genuine. Look at the real life one. This is exactly how this looks. It's like, what? I don't get it. And then I've got this little conundrum that's over here. So from this sightline, you can see the station, but at the moment you can see the station, but you probably won't be able to when I put trees and stuff in. But the actual ride itself is hidden from the trees. I don't know if I like that or not. Like, I don't know. I think I need to play this out and see how it goes. But when you're around the corner, you just get this ride that just opens up, and it's just there. But even then, it's not so obvious. As I said, I think my favourite, as we're going through the trees. Hey, it's a Chacho episode, through the trees. I think this is my favourite view. I think this is where the money shot's at. So right, I need to carry on because I'm running out of time. I will see you in a minute. Oh, you guys, I've got a new favourite view of this coaster. Just look at that. It's perfectly timed, and it's a complete accident. But look at just, how immersive this area is. It's just awesome. Like, you just get this perfect view of everything down here because it's now just a mess of supports and track and all sorts. I absolutely love it. And we've also got a name. So it's Cookamats, and that one goes to Mouseears71. I had to do, it was a draw on the naming over on the community tab, so I had to choose the one that got there first, and that was this one. It's Cookamats. So I've just thrown together a sign. Just really quickly because I know that Spike is probably watching. So yes, this is how it looks then from the top. And just fair warning, there's a lot of trees in this one, and you know what trees do to a Chacho camera. Get ready, guys, buckle up. So what I've done is just tidied up all the supports. I had a couple of rogue supports. I think I still do have a couple of rogue supports, but it's fine. And I've also just had to do some more tweaking to the track. As it turns out, I had a few collision points and a few bits that I needed to work out. There's also a bit of a science thing as well. So fellow science nerds, buckle up because we're about to do some sciencey stuff. Science fun time. So this whole tip in the bucket idea, I was like, is this actually okay? Like, people talk about this, don't let the bucket tip, etc. And I was like, but how does it work on an Enterprise? Because you basically, on an Enterprise, sit in a cage with no seatbelt, no nothing, and you just get thrown around, and that's absolutely fine. So I did some research, and I contacted some friends at S&S, and they said that in principle, because of centrifugal force, centripetal force, which the Americans among you are going to hate how I've just pronounced that, but that's how we pronounce it here in the UK. Because of that, it actually means that the direction of inertia means that you would actually stay in your seat, because your seat is a 90-degree angle, so you're pushed into the back of your seat as you're flying around the corner. You wouldn't fall out of it, as long as you're taking that corner at some kind of speed. So, it's fine to tip the bucket if you're going around the corner, and centripetal force would take care of that for you. Think of it like an Enterprise. So there you go. That's today's science lesson. So what else have I done in the area? I've tidied up all of the stuff. We now have all of the flooring going down. So we've got the tiles and everything that we had. Come on, this camera. This is going to be a really difficult camera episode, by the way, because I've got so many supports. The camera keeps latching to the top of the support. So yeah, I've put all of the stuff down in here. I decided to put a path cover on this area because this track does actually get quite close to the path. So I thought actually it should probably have some kind of a cover just to protect people, just in case. So that's what I've done here. Of course, you've got the ride sign, and I've just put a couple of picnic benches. I did have more in here, but actually it cluttered out the area a little bit too much, so I didn't actually bother with that. Over on the ride photos then, I've done quite a lot on the ride photos, just tweaks and stuff. We've now got the correct photos in, and it's now looking sweet. I quite like the position of this, actually. It's like really random and out the way. You just completely forget that you had a photo taken and you have to walk past it to leave the area. So, oh guys, I can't get over this view. Look at this. It's just perfect. It gives me almost Spimble Wizard vibes as well as Valair vibes. It's just, yeah, okay, sorry, I need to stop admiring my own work because I'm supposed to be presenting an episode. I've put some effects and stuff in here as well, and I've actually gone for a bit more of a plain flying theme with this one. So I didn't want to go down the cheesy route, but I've actually just gone sod it, I'm going to do it. So I've actually put some plain wings and stuff around this whole area as if it's a bit of a crashed outpost. So it's like the survivors and everything have come along and they've created this little outpost based around their crashed plane whilst they're waiting for somebody to come in. So that's what I've done. In the actual station then, I have gone ahead and... guys, I'm being so careful with my camera and I'm just not getting into any detail. So, I've done quite a lot of work in this station actually. I wanted to make it very, very clear that this bit over here is supposed to be a queue and this bit is the exit. So, I've actually put not an exit signs up and I put arrows up and all sorts. But as you can see, they're still exiting this way and I don't know if people are going to get the idea that this is supposed to be an exit. Now, I did toy... Is my camera right? No, it's not. There you go. So I did toy with this bit here being longer on the station. So I took out this this straight bit of track, the drive tyres. I was like, what are they called? The drive tyres, and made the station longer. But it actually then moved the correct positioning of the queue line here down one. And that's not right because they're supposed to be opposite each other. So I actually put it back and I've just gone down the route of signage and everything. So hopefully if you see other people's tours, they're going to get that it's a dual station. If not, can you point it out to them? Thanks. So yeah, that's the outpost. That's the outpost area. I've also done some work on the queue down here. So as I said before, I've just put in all the queue covers and stuff along here, and then I've just put loads of foliage along this side. I wanted this area to feel like it was a little bit grown out and a little bit overgrown. And then of course from down here, I've then put loads of bamboo along the back wall just to try and hide the outside world from the inside world. But it also means that you get is this camera? You also get a pretty decent view from outside of the park as well. So you see the lift hill and stuff just poking over the top, but it's still hidden with trees. And then you just, in fact, you can see more of the chair swing than you can the coaster. It's great. It's like exactly as I thought it was going to be. And this bit here works out beautifully because you can just see it poking through the trees. And because it's supposed to be a bird flying through the trees, you can just see it here. And it's just the perfect... I don't know if we've got one coming up. But it is just the perfect view. There we go. Look at this. It's so graceful. And then when you come around this way, it's just there. Just pokes around the trees. And it also, strangely, again, this is it's done completely by accident, fits perfectly along the tree line. So as it's coming around here, it's really snug towards the leaves and the trees. And I think that actually adds to the effect. I think it's like it makes it look like it's intentional. It's not, guys. I completely just fell upon that. I didn't even design it that way. But this is the other view that I really liked because it was just a mess of steel and track. I've just spotted that I've got a rogue support. I will fix that ahead of the next episode because I'm not re-recording this section. This is number 6. But yeah, so it's really good. And this reprofiled bend here actually works out much better than it did before because it doesn't take it as much of such a speed, and it actually crawls around the bend and it gives a bit of a break to it. But this is what I was talking about when I wanted the foliage and everything to continue along this way. So I've continued all of that up, and then I've just put the plane in the middle here with just some effects just to make it come to life a little bit. And as it turns out, by doing all of that, my ride rating is now not too bad. It's gone up to a 3.1 on the excitement and 2.4 on the fear. They're not good ratings. But on the prestige, it's now 633. So as it turns out, it's about where a Wendigo would have been if we put that in. So I am pretty chuffed with that. I'm pretty pleased with that. And then because we've got a slower throughput, it actually means the queue. The queue is longer. So it makes it look like it's a more popular ride than it really is. So yeah, we'll take it. It's fine. And just to let you know that the views from down here are way better if you actually walk along the path. So you get some pretty decent approach views. These ones are done by design. I did have this in mind when I was doing this. So yeah, it's good. I am chuffed with how this has turned out. So back up to the top then. So this is how this looks from the very top. It's Christmas and I'm running out of time. So I am just going to record this, publish this, and by the time you watch this, Christmas will be done. So guys, thank you so much for getting to the end of the video. As I said at the beginning, I hope you have had a lovely Christmas, and if you're not celebrating, I hope you had a lovely week. Thank you so much for joining me. Back to the premieres again next week, so I look forward to seeing you there. I don't know which way we're going to go in the park. I don't know whether we're coming down here or whether we're coming down here. I'm going to play it out because I've got a week off work, so let's see how that goes. Anyway, until next time, please look after yourselves. Take care. Bye-bye.